Hello everyone, very good morning and good evening. Welcome to our step up circuit. So first thing we would be discussing that what are the different solutions or before jumping into the solution, because what are the things we are talking about is sourcing and procurement, right? And I see that some people are joining from TM background, some people are joining from a WAP background. First thing we need to very clear, and then you would also be able to understand the differentiation once you understand this sourcing and procurement differentiation. You would also be able to find it out where we need to use the Ariba and where we need to use S4HANA or any other product. Sourcing and procurement. So, first of all, SAP S4HANA sourcing and procurement or SAP MM, that is a one product. SAP MM, SAP S4HANA sourcing and procurement, that's a one product. SAP Ariba is another product. Okay, it's another product. These are two products, but both of these products, and these both products are from SAP. SAP Ariba has been acquired by SAP around 2000, if I'm not wrong, 2010 or 11. SAP acquired Ariba and now it's SAP Ariba product. Okay. And SAP was having MM in ECC and now they are jumping into with S4HANA. They have changed the name of MM module to sourcing and procurement. In S4HANA, it is called SAP S4HANA sourcing and procurement. But the business terminology, the right business terminology for both of the tool is sourcing and procurement. Now, they both are the tools of sourcing and procurement. Sourcing and procurement. Thank you, Sri, for correcting me. Acquisition happened in 2012. Sourcing and procurement. The both are the tools of sourcing and procurement. We need to understand from the business point of view, what is the difference in sourcing, what things we do in sourcing, and what things we do in procurement. Can you quickly let me know the difference? What do you think? A lot of people are joining here from MM and Ariba background. It would be good to hear from them. Can you put it on the chat? What do you think? What is the difference between sourcing and procurement? Pre-purchase activity. Sourcing is pre-purchase activity. That's good, Sujay. How about others? A lot of people said, MM, Ariba, MM, Ariba. Quickly, you should be knowing it. Anita said sourcing is pre-procuring activity. Okay, vendor selection versus procurement. Atana said sourcing is identify the needs of a purchase. खरीदना क्यों है, right? Sourcing is selection of a vendor proper. Sourcing is vendor supplier. Vendor evaluation is sourcing. Okay, I have different answers and many of them are correct. I will just sequence and properly fit those answers into a thread. Now, and many companies in also you will see the supply chain. Sometimes they call the terminology supply chain department. Okay, sometimes they call it as a sourcing. Sometimes they call sourcing and procurement. Sometimes they would be calling it as a inventory and the procurement departments. But there can be many cases the business would be having two different departments. One is the sourcing department. Sourcing department is also known as vendor development department. Procurement department is more related to regular. So procurement is more focused on procuring the stuff and supplying it. So to procure the stuff, it can start with the purchase requisition. Purchase requisition can also be connected with something like MRP, material requirement planning, to purchase requisition. And then we can have a purchase orders can be created. This purchase order can be given to vendor, right? And then vendor in return of this would be providing its confirmations. Boss, I agree with this purchase order. I agree with this quantities. Dates, I would be able to deliver it. And then vendor would be actually delivering the product to us. And when actually vendor deliver the product to us, we do the good receipts, right? And then vendor also say, this is the invoice. Vendor gives the invoice to us and we book the invoice, which is called Miro. Miro is a transaction code. Okay, the Migo is for GR and Miro is for invoice booking. And after this, we do the payment to the vendor. The cycle which I am drawing it here, this cycle is also called Procure-to-Pay cycle. Okay, where basically we are procuring it from the vendor. Okay, now what happens in any supply chain, and specifically when we are talking about, now I will also talk about more terminologies, but I will try to explain you. These are terminology called direct materials and the indirect materials, right? What are the direct materials? Direct materials are those materials which directly goes into the product. So let's say, consider this is a juice bottle, right? I am producing, this is a juice bottle. I am producing a juice bottle. So I need this bottle, I need this cap, and under the content also I need, which is inside the concentrate, juice concentrate, sugar, all the materials which will go inside the product, or all the materials which is a part of the product, outside packaging, labels, everything which is a part of the product is called a direct material, right? So if I have a juice manufacturing, on the daily basis, I am selling thousands of the cartons or cases of juices, which means when I'm selling on the daily basis a lot of material, I need to buy also on a daily basis a lot of materials, the same kind of material, same sugar syrup, same bottle, same label, same cap, same packaging material. I would be continuously buying it from the vendor, right? That is the direct materials where basically we are continuously buying it. So there, this cycle would be very prominent cycle where MRP is running, demand is generating, purchase requisitions are getting created, purchase orders, and it has been fulfilled, the material has been received, it has given to the production team, and production team is producing and the selling is happening. So it's a continuous process of your supply chain, a continuous process of the supply chain. That is the procurement process, making sure procuring the materials and fulfilling to the customer. Customer can be internal customer, the production can be the internal customer, or selling it to directly to the other customer, buying and selling scenarios can also happen. So that is the procure-to-pay process. That is the procurement process, which you will see for the direct materials. A lot of places directly this process will happen. Pre-sales would not be there. Why pre-sales is not there? When we need to buy the material round for the full year and every month, every week, we already have a defined vendors. We already have a defined vendors. But there is a team who has worked to define these vendors, right? Now here we are saying we would be buying it. But boss, you would be buying from whom? You would be buying from this vendor. Who selected this vendor? Who selected this vendor? Who negotiated with this vendor? Who created a contract with this vendor? Who finalizing the prices with this vendor? Right? There is some team who is working on to all this part. Who is evaluating the vendor? Okay, who is checking that the quality and the vendor is following all the processes? Okay, and everything is in place. Who is doing all this check? That is your vendor development team. Your vendor development teams make sure that when a new product comes, they identify the vendor. They identify the vendor, and for the identify vendor, they do the contract, they do all the onboarding activities, they do it for this vendor. But the procurement team, they have already onboarded vendors, prices are there, contracts are there. They just need to give a purchase order, take the material, give the payment, and make sure supply chain keep on running. That is a part of the procurement. That is a part of the procurement. Now, this part is also known as, in Ariba language, this business process, which I am saying, procure to pay, is also known as downstream. When you will learn Ariba, you will come to know that this is also known as a downstream. Right? Now, the other thing is the sourcing part. Now, to explain, sourcing also happens for the direct materials. But direct material, one material, we are continuously buying it, right? So the efforts in the sourcing is less. But when it comes to the indirect materials, the efforts would be very high. What are the indirect materials? Can you quickly give me some examples? Quickly on the chat, use your fingers onto the keyboard, type something. What do you understand? Some examples of the indirect materials. Some examples of the indirect materials. Office supplies, consumables, paper, stationery. Very good. Let me ask you follow-up questions. If I create, okay, if I do a buying of materials, right? I am buying 100 materials in a month. I'm buying 100 materials in a month. How many would be the direct material and how many would be the indirect material? The percentage wise I am asking. The question is, I'm buying 100 materials from the vendor, 100 different materials. How many of them would be the direct and how many of them would be the indirect, percentage wise? Quickly. 10% direct, 90% indirect. 90% indirect, that 10 is direct. Depends on the demand elements. Okay, consultant answer. Here depends on so many things. Yeah, 90% indirect, 80% direct, 20 indirect. Nirup said. So my experience is it would be 80 to 90% of the material would be indirect material. 10% would be the direct material. You're always the volume of the or the count of the material of the indirect would be always high, because indirect materials are so many. Just look around you, around yourself. The headphones are there, the computers are there, the cameras are there, tables are there, chairs are there, so many stationary items are there, machineries are there, assets are there, tools are there, jigs are there, fixtures are there, safety products are there, so many items. IT itself would be having so many items, and because the changes happen, the new technology happen with the new wires, new cables, new connectors, new kind of laptops, new kind of cameras, a lot of things comes, and these all are the indirect products, right? So the count of indirect products would be always more than the direct products. And the efforts for the sourcing would be always more for the indirect products. This is very important to understand. You will understand why I am focusing on this part. Until unless you don't understand this business concepts and the differentiation in the business, you will not be able to understand कि भैया कहाँ पे, where we need to use S4 HANA sourcing and procurement, and where we need to use Ariba or where we need to use Coupa. That part you will not be able to understand, right? So if you don't understand this, the way that these two different businesses happens, right? Now here in this part, the sourcing part, the different things can happen. In the sourcing part, you can have, for purchase acquisition, we can say that, boss, we don't know who is the source for it. There's a new material. We need to identify the source. We don't know who should be the source, right? To identify the source, we can raise a request for quotations. That request for quotations can goes to the different vendors, and they can return back with their quotations. Or this you can also do with the bidding process. With the bidding process also you can do this, receiving the quotations from the vendors. And then you would be doing the comparison. With the bidding comparison you would be doing. And after you do the comparison, you would do the reward. With reward, multiple things can happen. With reward, one of the things can happen. Let me try to show in a different color. You can assign the vendor to the purchase requisition. You can create a contract which can be used later on to create purchase order, or from here you can create a purchase order. Okay, different kind of things happen. Or you can also update the purchase info records, the information that for this vendor at this price we will be buying it in future. So this cycle, the left-hand cycle, this is called now your upstream in Ariba language and sourcing in SAP ECC or S4HANA language, right? Now the thing is that the both product, your S4HANA also have sourcing and procurement, and Ariba also have sourcing and procurement, right? So both is there. So where we need to use which one, right? So if you ask SAP that, boss, if you want to do the end-to-end digital transformation of my supply chain business and of my sourcing and procurement business, if I want to do end-to-end digital transformation, what are the products? SAP said that we have two products. We have Ariba and we have S4HANA sourcing and procurement. So combination of both would be able to digitalize your end-to-end supply chain. Okay. Now you need to understand the functionalities of S4HANA. S4HANA is very powerful in this functionality, the procurement one, because the procurement one need to integrate with the planning, a strong planning tools, MRP, DDMRP, predictive MRP, MRP live, then connected with IBP, okay, connected with APO, that strong planning connections are there. And then it has a strong connection with inventory management, transport management, extended warehouse management, strong connection with the productions, okay, because the demand comes from the production, you need to give the materials to the production, and a strong linkage with the finance and controlling to maintain your books. So S/4HANA overall is a core complete ERP system. Ariba is not a core complete ERP system. Okay, Ariba is also ERP system, but Ariba is not considered as a complete ERP system. S/4HANA is considered as a complete ERP system, which has all the function and features. And the best thing is they integrate with them very solidly. SAP is the only product which has so much of integrated business processes available in an ERP system. All other ERP systems, they don't have that many business processes and integration with them. That is where the S/4HANA is very strong. It can be a core ERP product to give you very solid functionality of procure-to-pay processes and the procurement processes, right? Those processes, it is very solid and strong. Sourcing functionality, it has. S/4HANA has a sourcing functionality, but very basic in nature, where basically you would be able to first onboard the vendors, and then you would be able to give them the request for quotations. And then those requests for quotation also, either you can send it through the email, there is no portal for them. And when they submit back the quotation, when they submit back quotations to you, it does not automatically enter into your system. You need to punch in. You will be seeing in the email, those email, you need to read their quotations and you need to punch in the system manually, right? And then you need to do the comparison also. The advanced bidding functionalities are not there. You don't have a big pool of vendor. I want to buy the laptop, right? Already in the market, there are 6-7 good vendors are there who's selling the laptop. I need to check with all of them, although I'm not onboarded all of them, but I want to check with all of them, right? So that kind of pool of available vendors are not there in S/4HANA. So there's a lot of functionality for which the sourcing S/4HANA is not that strong. Okay, for the sourcing S/4HANA is not that strong. But that sourcing functionalities, Ariba is very strong. Ariba is very strong into the sourcing functionalities, giving you a pool of vendors, a network of vendors, making sure the vendor onboarding processes, procurement planning processing, creating a project, and against the project, making sure all the identify material, you identify the sourcing for them, and then identify the sources for them, doing the price negotiations, doing the bidding processes, all this core functionality with automatic digitalization, giving your vendor a platform, giving your vendor a dashboard where they would be able to see, they would be able to check, and they would be able to do the automated processes rather than doing the manual processing. That is a strong functionality of Ariba. That is a strong functionality of Ariba. That's why you would be seeing that many businesses say that for the indirect materials, they are using Ariba, or for the indirect materials, they are using Coupa. Coupa is a third-party tool. It's not SAP tool, but it's also very famous. It's a competitor of Ariba. Okay, because in indirect, when it comes to the indirect, then the sourcing functionality is 10 times, or the sourcing efforts are 10 times more than the direct materials. That's why you need a strong sourcing tools to do the indirect buying, to reduce your efforts, to streamline your efforts. Okay, that's why the combination of both are required to make sure to have a full digitalization, full automatic functionalities in the sourcing side. You bring Ariba. To have a strong functionality in the procure-to-pay side, getting integrated with all the other different planning, inventory management, transport management, finance modules, you have a S/4HANA procure-to-pay. So upstream, Ariba is very strong. Downstream, S/4HANA is very strong. Okay, so now you would be able to understand the differentiation between sourcing, differentiation between procurement, and you would also be able to understand where S/4HANA need to be used and where Ariba need to be used. Any quick question before I proceed ahead? Okay, I have a question from Raj. You mean do not use SAP Ariba for direct materials? Please confirm. So Raj, it has a functionality in feature. Even SAP Ariba, you can also use with Oracle. With Oracle also you can use. So it has the capability to buy the direct materials. What I am telling you that based on my experience of last 20 years, where I have seen where prominently which business scenario, which tool has been used, right? That's what I'm telling you. But it has the capabilities. Ariba has a capability to use for the direct material. My understanding, we use downstream. If you know the vendor downstream, you do not vendor. You need to find vendor and do the procurement. Correction, if you do not know the vendor, use upstream. If you do not use the vendor, use upstream. If you know the vendor, use downstream. That is true in your language of Ariba. But if you say that SAP S4HANA, let's say a company has SAP S4HANA sourcing and procurement, they don't have Ariba. They don't have Ariba. So they can use the functionality within SAP S4HANA sourcing and procurement. If they don't know the vendor, they need to go with the sourcing functionalities. In some cases, sourcing, they're using a third-party tools or they are using manual things. Once they identify the source, then they register in the vendor and the quotation process they don't follow in the system. That kind of business scenarios are also there. Okay. So within the S4HANA also, if you don't know the vendor, you can use the sourcing functionality, but it is not a strong functionality. It has a very basic functional features, right? But from the Ariba perspective, what you write is perfectly right. Charan has a question. The RFQ comparison contract, also the information can be shared to vendor via outputs, can also be done in S4HANA. Then what is the advantage of Ariba upstream? So this information, if you want to share with the vendors, the first thing is the drawback in S4HANA ki bhaiya, this vendors, you need to first onboard on your system. You need to create a business partner in your system. You need to first onboard the vendors in the system before you start the bidding process. That is the first disadvantage. Second disadvantage, these all are sent manually, individually to the vendor. Vendor does not have a portal where he can log in and see, okay, what are the things has come to him, and he can respond digitally. In S4HANA, vendor would be sending you email, you will be reading the email, and you would be manually punching the quotations. In Ariba, that things can be done automatically, right? S4HANA does not have vendor onboarding process. Vendor onboarding has so many things included, so many activities included. Those all vendor onboarding things are not available. Then contract lifecycle management. Contract lifecycle management itself is a sub-module, a big module. What S4HANA gives, a transaction where just you can create a contract. But before creating a contract, there's a lot of activities we do in the sourcing. Those all things are not available in S4HANA, is available in Ariba. We'll be going more detail in Ariba to tell you the functionalities of Ariba. Collaboration with vendor will get rid of IDOC. Yes, Atanu will get with the Ariba process we can. Sandeep, so direct materials procurement, it has to integrate with sourcing and procurement. Yes, most of the companies, direct materials, sourcing and procurement, the procure-to-pay cycles, they use it in the S4HANA, where S4HANA and Ariba are both there. In those scenarios, the procure-to-pay scenario, they run it in the S4HANA. The sourcing part, they do it in Ariba. They can do the sourcing of both direct and indirect. But we say direct, direct, direct more because in the sourcing, if you are having efforts of count of 100, 95 efforts come from the indirect material in the sourcing and 5 efforts come from the direct materials. That's why we say more indirect when it comes to sourcing. Is there any big difference between implementing S4HANA and Ariba? Technically, yes, boss, there is a big difference. S4HANA required a separate product, separate license, separate consultant. Ariba required separate product, separate license, and Ariba is now more implemented in the cloud. S4HANA is available in the both, but S4HANA right now still available more onto the on-premise or the private cloud edition. Okay, those things would be there. Ariba, we would be having not that high configurations which we have in S4HANA. Ariba does not have that high configurations. We cannot do a lot of developments in Ariba, which we can do it in S4HANA because it's a cloud product. It will have a lot of dependency on SAP. A lot of things SAP resources would be doing, you need to request to them. So there are the differences in both of the implementations. Mohammed is asking, in Ariba, there is a sealed bid and assigned bid opening committee. Okay. I think that's a statement, not a question. I take it as it is. I'm not a Ariba expert. I will ask Shri to get that thing explained. So with that functionality, I hope you are clear that what is sourcing, what is procurement, what is Ariba, okay, what is Ariba, and what is your S4 HANA, right? I will just quickly explain again what is Ariba and what other things have been covered in upstream and downstream, and then I will hand it over to Shri. He will be taking you ahead with the more detailed functionalities of Ariba, what are the things are available, and then I will come back and I will be answering few of the questions that who can learn Ariba, okay, and what would be the career opportunities after learning Ariba. So what? So one of the question which we want to answer that you would now be able to understand what is Ariba. So Ariba is basically a tool, a product from SAP by which you can do the sourcing and you can do the procurement. It's a sourcing and procurement tool which has a different functions and features, and it is very strong into the sourcing functionality where basically you don't know the vendor or you want to onboard the vendor. For those functionalities, it's very strong. It's very strong product for your indirect buying. For your indirect buying also, it's a very strong product. Okay, it was Ariba was standalone till 2012. SAP has acquired Ariba. SAP has acquired Ariba in 2012, and now SAP plus SAP S4 HANA, SAP Ariba, and SAP S4 HANA sourcing and procurement combination of the both give you the full digital transformation of your supply chain sourcing and procurement. Okay, so it has both sourcing and procurement capabilities, but it is strong into the sourcing side. It has its own supplier network. Supplier network is there. It would be having dashboards or kind of a portal would be there for the suppliers. They would be able to log in. They would be able to check what are the purchase orders given to them, what are the things they need to supply, what are the things they need to confirm. They would be able to raise the invoices. They would be able to participate in the bid, in the bidding process by using SAP Ariba portal. Okay, so that is what SAP Ariba is in nutshell. Just give a quick screenshot of this. So Ariba has a two upstream and downstream as we have talked about. So this will give you more clear picture. So your supplier side, sourcing side, contract side, okay, where basically you search for the supplier, you onboard the supplier, you do the sourcing negotiation, and then you do the contracting part, contract lifecycle management. So this part comes under the upstream part, and then it also have a downstream part. It also have a downstream part. You can have a purchase requisition, purchase order, good receipt, invoice payment. This part also is there into the Ariba. You can implement Ariba. I have seen a lot of scenarios where Ariba has been implemented and major functionality is the upstream, especially when you have Ariba and S4HANA sourcing and procurement both. For we have used in many projects. Upstream part we have used from Ariba, and the downstream part, rather than using a downstream functionality of Ariba, we have used downstream functionality of sourcing and procurement, SAP S4HANA. Okay, that is the difference between Ariba, upstream and downstream. Okay, to tell more about the Ariba, different modules in the Ariba and the different function and features with Ariba, let me quickly invite Shri, and by the time Shri joins, I will also check if there is any questions out there. Okay, Ariba related questions are coming. Just hold on. Let Shri explain. Shri, can you raise your hand so that we can give the access to you? Let Shri explain the basic Ariba part. It would be answering a lot of your questions already. Okay, Shri, I have made you co-host. Now you would be able to you would be able to unmute yourself and you would also be able to share your screen.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, Sri, you are audible. Before we give it to Sri, let me give you a quick introduction to Sri. Sri has been associated, and I personally know Sri for quite some long time. I think we don't have a count of number of batches which Sri has done with us as Ariba batches. I think he has done more than 10 batches with us. He has also done a lot of corporate training with us. He's a very strong into the Ariba side. I think more than 7 years he's working in Ariba, and he's a core sourcing and procurement guy. He has a core operations experience and also working on SAP MM, few years in SAP MM before jumping into Ariba. So he comes with a very enriched experience where basically he's working as a core consultant into the different projects of Ariba. So from there, he also brings a lot of enriched experience related to Ariba. So with that brief introduction, Sri, over to you. I would stop sharing my video and screen. You can start sharing your screen, and then you can also start with the basic explanation on Ariba.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks for your introduction, for my introduction. As usual, your session is always informative and it's up to date. It is not like so very up to date information. I'm sure that will be very helpful for whoever joining the session. They understand the latest technologies or latest roadmap, the procurement cycles are in different business scenarios. Thanks for beautiful presentation on the coverage. So you have already covered most of the things from Ariba side. Let me take again a chance to give more on the Ariba side. There are certain questions from Ariba, so which I will be explaining after we'll go through certain introduction into the Ariba side.
Sure, Sri. Please go ahead, and thank you for the kind words.
So just to make it quicker, I have just put it some notes so that you will able to understand what is Ariba and at high level at the overview. So good evening, everyone. People from other region, good morning and good afternoon. Thank you for joining the session. So just to give you a very high level on the Ariba side, Ariba replaces SAP's SRM solution. It's called Supplier Relationship Management. So anyone using Supplier Relation Management, they have to upgrade to Ariba's SAP's Ariba solution. So that is SAP's recommendation. The replacement tool for SRM would be Ariba. So as you are all aware, SAP Ariba is SAP acquired Ariba in 2012. From that, it is offered as a cloud solution. Before that, it is also having a on-premise solution. So the difference is on-premise means solution provided at the premises of the business in a physical location. So it required hardware servers and its maintenance engineers, both hardware engineers and software engineers, and also application specialists. Basically, the like SAP Ariba application specialists who have a knowledge on those applications also need available. Coming to the cloud solution, it's a just simple subscription that account is activated immediately. It does not mean that you will activate it right now and you cannot use it. You do the customizations which is required at the Ariba. Basically, the product is ready. SAP Ariba product is ready. It's a matured application. It is not something new. Matured application for both sourcing and contracts and also downstream. So what are the advantages comparing cloud solution and on-premise solution? Coming to the cloud, it's an instant access where you can access from anywhere in the world. There is no limitation. No hardware, so you don't worry about the maintenance part. It's taken care by SAP. Simple deployment, that means you just do the customization. SAP will help in setting up the URLs and doing the minimal customizations required at the client level. And most of the things are very standard. And what you need, the client need, that will be activated. What client does not need will be deactivated. That kind of a deployment will be taming. So that's why we call that as a time saving also. In a normal on-premise installation, if it takes more than 2 years, I'm saying a medium level project will take around 2 years. Coming to Ariba, it can be possible maximum 9 months. So starting from your introduction, kickoff until implementation, within 9 months you should able to move on to the Ariba. And there are certain simple application where you don't do the lot of customization and vanilla. Then Ariba says that you can even deploy within 3 months. So that's at the minimum level. So upgrades are rolled out remotely. That means you don't need to worry for the upgrades. It is taken care by SAP. Okay. So let me take you to the Ariba just to give you how the feel, because people coming from and other modules, just to give you. So there are no T ports and all. It's the navigation will be quite easy. So this is itself easy, and Ariba is still simplifying more by using guided buying and guided sourcing sprints. That will explain at a later stage. So this is your landing page. I hope you are able to see the Ariba screens. Okay. So this is the dashboard. This can be customizable by the user on his own. He can edit the whatever visibility is there, that he can able to delete or reorganize, move from one place to another place using a drag and drop option, or he can remove, or he can change the size and filters also. So many things are there. If you look at the home page, just to give you, so it is giving how many contracts are expiring in 7 days. It's very simple. And how many contracts are expiring already expired. So 20 contracts are expired. When you look at the statuses of the quotations, like how many are in preparation, that's called draft, how many are in preview. So it was enabled to the business. I mean, suppliers are yet to provide the responses. So preview status and how many are in open. So that is available for the suppliers. All these things with a simple click, you can able to look at the project, and the count is visible in the dashboard. And your task. So Ariba also notified with the task. Instead of going to your email and checking the activities, you have to do it. If you log into the Ariba, you will get to know what are all to-do tasks you have to perform. As a manager, you want to approve certain purchase requisition. As a task owner, you have to approve certain tasks. All these things can be accessed from My Tasks. Then coming to your documents, what are all the projects which you have created that will appear under your My Documents. Watched projects, it's a kind of a quick links where you want to refer certain projects so that you will have a follow up on these kind of projects. These are all your to-do activities which are open. If you are part of an approval process, you need to take actions on the to-do items. Notifications, what are the notifications received, whether the supplier, for example, if you see supplier test event in the sourcing, response has been provided, that information is highlighted here. Then again, commodity-wise analysis. How many, like cleaning and equipment, what is the percentage of analysis? Travel and food, furniture and fixtures, national defense. So it can be based on your commodity, how much is the spend or how much is the projects are active. All this information can be made into the pie chart. Active contract request by the supplier. So each supplier level, how many contracts you are having. Vikrant Steel, for example, how many number of projects he is having as a percentage, that can be configurable. Your calendar, which will give you like how many to-do tasks or how many pending tasks, all. And these events in a nutshell. So for example, RFI was created for desktop monitors. When it was created, when it is going to expire. If you want to look at more detail, click on that see details and you should be able to see this. And still more event statuses. So these are all your quotations. How many in draft? Again, there is RFI, request for information, request for proposal, action. So I'm quickly going through all those things. We are going to explain each thing in very detail, and this will be useful also. So you can add additional reports and additional tiles, additional news and links and all into the page by clicking on the configuration tool. You should be able to add it. You have an option to create like sourcing project, sourcing request, contract workspaces when you're in an upstream side. So a quick tip would be how do you know whether you are in upstream or a downstream? When you look at the URL when it says sourcing, that means you are in an upstream solution. When you open to the downstream, then it will show as a buying. I want to create a purchase requisition. Purchase requisition will be in procurement solution. In order to switch, there is a side button. Just click on that side button, move to the child side. Then you would notice that the URL will change from sourcing to buyer. Ariba maintains it two different URLs, sourcing and contracts in sourcing, buying and invoicing under buyer web pages, I can say. So again, when now I come to the downstream, now you could see the different tabs. Earlier I was seeing contract sourcing and other thing. Now I'm seeing procurement, invoicing, catalog, etc. Same. Here, when you look at the create button, the options will now change to create requisition, create invoice. All these things are part of downstream. Since the user is having both the option, he was able to get an option to use the sourcing and contracts also. This visibility of the tabs will change from the permissions the user is having. For example, if the user is only a procurement user, he don't see the invoicing tab. Similarly, the account or financial people, they don't see the procurement tab. Similarly, the catalog will be given to mostly to all the users where they can browse the item and purchase the item from the vendor. Now, like how we have seen, there are different type of tiles to do documents, my documents at the both parent side and child side also. Let me take back you to the notes. So as we have already discussed, Ariba is a cloud platform and it's called SaaS, Software as a Service. So cloud platforms are also having different solution. Ariba is part of SaaS platform. Okay, this was already discussed by Parminder, what is an upstream and what is a downstream. So upstream is mostly focused on efficiencies of the product, supplier optimization. I mean, getting the best out of the supplier by conducting a competitive event, we should be able to get the better prices from the supplier. Partnership. So this was no longer buyer and seller relationship. It's all now partners. That's the reason your even vendor masters has been renamed as a business partners. And their more focus would be on the cost savings also. That's how you need to save it. The investment you're keeping on Ariba or SAP, Ariba, SAP product, that has to be achieved by using the functionalities. Ariba says that you should be able to get at least 5 to 15% per annum saving when you start using Ariba. So how that will be possible? So you have a business network. All the suppliers are connected to a business network. So you can able to find out new source of supply. That is one of the advantage. And second, by conducting a competitive biddings, you should be able to get more competitive pricing compared to whatever you are doing in the earlier. So when you conduct a competitive bidding, the supplier is aware that you are also trying from another vendor and he tries to give you the better price to be in the business. So that way you get the saving. So that's return on investment will be quicker in Ariba. So now this is also part of upstream activity. Formalize the prices, terms. What is the terms you are agreeing, like 30 days credit term or 60 days credit term? Quality. So agreed specifications. Before even you get the quotation, you will send out the specification, whether they are able to supply or not, by you sending an RFI. That is possible. You can also conduct the performance of the supplier using supplier performance management. Thereby, you have a visibility on the quality of the supply. Dates of delivery. So you can able to provide agreed dates. Maybe you are following certain business practices where you want a quicker turnaround. Those things can be negotiated with the suppliers. Discount, supplier commitment, long-term relationship, on-time availability of material, etc. These are all will be finalized by the senior level of procurement team. Then when it comes to the downstream, I generally call that as an automated process where user logins into the system, he browses through the catalog, he submits his requisition. That's it. After that, the process is automated. It will go for the approval based on the configuration which is done in Ariba by the consultants. Once approved, it will create automatically PO. Ariba will generate a PO and send it to the supplier. You don't have to send that PO to the supplier. It is taken care automatically. And also you will get a notification when the supplier has provided order confirmation. Once supplier has accepted, you will also see, or looking at your requisition status, you will also understand whether order confirmation has been confirmed by the supplier, or even if the status is ordered, that means the PO has been generated and sent to the supplier. So those kind of things are automated in downstream. In order to do that, the steps you have to do in the upstream has to be configured. So you have to find out the best source of supply, the pricing, and other things has to be set up. So that reduces the junior level procurement people in order focusing on whether the supplier has received the PO. You have to make a call and find out. All those things are eliminated, means you have an automated process. So as we discussed, the top level activities are called strategic sourcing and end user level of activities are called procurement. Now Ariba call procurement as a buying and invoicing. sourcing will be divided as sourcing, contract management, supplier management. There are three important modules in upstream. And coming to the downstream, you have buying and invoicing. So the top activity from top to bottom, if you're saying source to pay. So it starts from the sourcing activity, contract management, buying and invoicing. It's a full cycle. If you're calling as a procure to pay, then that's called only procurement level. So where you are going to start with buying and you're going to end with invoicing, procure to pay. Procure to order. You end with ordering only. The rest of the activities will be taken in another system, procure to order scenarios. Okay. So upstream solutions are onboarding suppliers. So that's what. So how you want to onboard a supplier? You don't need to register the supplier. Enabling the supplier into the buying until you validate the supplier and do the qualification and all. Then you can onboard the supplier. If the supplier is not meeting or is not, the prices are not up to you, then you don't need to bring the supplier into the downstream. So that functionality is available in onboarding of a supplier where you can initiate with just an email address. You can initiate a supplier activity by just creating an account. Once the supplier provided the response and you feel that that supplier is a very competitive for us and we want to do the next level of activity, we can move that supplier from registered status to qualified status. That we're going to discuss under supplier management. Create and managing sourcing event. The main functionality would be RFI, request for information. You're going to filter based on the responses, how many people have accepted as per your requirement. Then you create into RFP, where you collect the pricing information. So that's called RFP process. Most of the businesses will do the RFP process and they will compete. There are certain situations or certain scenarios where you also further go by selecting the relevant RFPs from the suppliers. For example, if I send for an RFI 50 users, and out of the 50 users, I have selected 30 users for the pricing proposal. Once I get the pricing proposal, maybe I'm selecting only 10 suppliers. I want to do the competition among these 10 suppliers to get a more better price. Then I can go for an auction also. All these things we are going to see under sourcing module. Then after sourcing is completed, you're going to award, which is nothing but providing a confirmation to the seller saying that, hey, we are interested in your product and I will be sending you either follow-on document. What are the follow-on document? Either a contract or a purchase order. So that we are going to see the next level, contract management. So in simple, contract management can also be a kind of a resource or where a place for all your contract. Other than procurement, you can also have any other sales contracts. Everything can be integrated in contract management. You can look at the contracts in one place. So contracts also will give you timely notification when it is getting expired, when it is in the notice period, when it is due for renewal. And you can also define whether the contract is lifelong, perpetual contract, or it is going to auto-renew automatically. Unless there is a need, we want to change it, we can set up auto-renew of the contract. Or we can also have a fixed term contracts. What is fixed term contracts? I'm going to create a contract now and I'm going to end by December. For example, I'm saying. So if you want to renew, you will do it. Otherwise, the contract will automatically expire. Also based, based on the limits. So I'm creating a contract for 100,000. When I'm releasing purchase orders for 100,000, then I can end my contract also. That we are going to look at the contract time modules. And then supplier management, sourcing and contracts we are going to cover. And coming to the buying and invoicing, how a PR is configured. One thing is, in Ariba, you cannot create PO directly. All starts with the requisition only. And for the requisition, what are the fields you can select? Accounting information, defaulting ship to addresses, and also creating approval flows. Who has to approve the requisition? Dynamic approval flows are available in Ariba. And invoice inside, how to do two-way matching, three-way matching, invoice reconciliation. All we are going to cover under topic buying and invoicing. Apart from that, we are also going to discuss how we are going to connect with SAP to get any additional functionalities. Are you stuck in something where you want to get explanation from Ariba, why this function is not working, whether it is because of one person reason or it is a common or a new feature is required, how we are going to connect with the suppliers, Ariba, that is also explained. And also on the business network side, you can register as a supplier and you can practice in the events and all that we are going to explain in during the events. And each template we are going to discuss. So now it is not like one template we are going to explain. whatever sourcing request, sourcing project, contract, SLP, all the templates are discussed. You will be having a thorough hands-on on the template level also during my training process. So this is at the high level and the overview and what are the topics we are going to cover in the sessions that I have explained. And maybe
We have a lot of questions on the chat. If you can slowly one by one answer them.
sure. May know which one I need to take out because some are already responded.
Okay, I think what is guided buying in Ariba, I think has been already explained. Can we use Ariba module for sales and distribution and other modules like TM? It's not a replacement of sales and distribution and TM,
Yeah,
but
that's
it can integrate with them to provide the materials wherever the buying need to happen.
correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Then
Just
we have another
commenting
question
on
from.
someone was asking guided sourcing and guided buying. So
Mhm.
basically the user experience is different from the classical. Other word for the guided will be the classical. Classical sourcing, yes, SAP has provided an update that by quarter 1st 2025, it is going to provide end of support. So all the users are requested to migrate to guided sourcing. So they have already done all the necessary steps required. It's simple. You just need to activate the guided sourcing and then all your templates will be upgraded to guided sourcing by default. What you need is how the user experience will be there. That training is needed. So that is we can able to cover in our sessions. That is under guided sourcing. Coming to the guided buying, similar to the procurement. So casual buyers. So buyers who used to access once in a while in Ariba, they have provided with guided buying access. It's a very simplified interface where you just need to click the requisition and submit your requisition and you can monitor it. So that is also we can able to cover in our session. So I am going from the downside. Someone asking normal Ariba versus S2P implementation. So both are same only. It is nothing but source to pay means what are all the modules you are going to cover. Ariba, you can able to subscribe to individual module or collective module. When I say source to pay implementation, you are going to use all the modules. You are going to use Ariba for procurement also. In that scenario, it's called S2P implementation. If you're in, maybe if I understand correct, normal Ariba means you want to use only upstream, but for the procurement process, you want to use your ERP system. So the integration will be different in that scenario unless you are taking a suite integration with all the modules. Which type of customer users would use Ariba for direct procurement? So Ariba for direct procurement, it is not the main tool. As we explained, the Ariba purpose is to get the more saving on the sourcing side, which is a stronger in Ariba side, where you integrate the solution with your direct procurement, basically your ERP solution, to collect the pricing information and move on to creation of the purchase order. Rest of the activities like goods receiving and stock management, you are going to continue in your backend ERP. Okay, commerce automation. So that's again a different topic. So where you're going to integrate your ERP solution with SAP Business Network, that's called commerce automation. It's a smaller functionality compared to supply chain collaboration.
There's a question in between from Venkatesh. Does Ariba reduces efforts of master data creation in S/4HANA, or we need to duplicate them in both platforms? The master data which need to be used for procure-to-pay cycle, the vendor information as a business partner, need to be available in S/4HANA. The what can be reduces is the creation efforts can be automated from Ariba to S/4HANA, but in S/4HANA database, you still require your vendor and business partner need to be available. So that is to answer Venkatesh question. And Shri, feel free to pick it up the question which you feel is still not answered.
Yeah, I'm just checking. Yeah, cloud connected in Ariba and between Ariba and ERP. So when you're connecting via integration using CAG, now that it is named as a managed gateway, you have to use cloud connector just to hide your information, that SAP information. So they use cloud connector. It's a kind of a security protocol or a what is called firewall kind that protects the identity of your SAP information. Ariba provides APIs. Yes, you can able to develop your own systems using APIs. Ariba provides REST APIs and there is another method. So that both APIs are available. What is supplier business network? Yes, it's a supplier business network is where When you send the PO, it goes to the business network. The supplier can create an account in supplier, so he can receive all the collective information and he can respond. He can create a PO flip by just doing a PO flip. He can create an invoice and all. So Ariba is basically like how we are accessing Ariba as a buyer. The suppliers also will access Ariba. For suppliers also, there are so many customers who are using Ariba. They have only single platform. In single account, they should be able to receive all their purchase orders and they can respond. What are the configuration nodes involved in Ariba and what is the configuration difference between on-premise and cloud? So cloud solution, the integration between Ariba and the supplier is taken care by SAP. Coming to your on-premise, you need to do the configuration. It depends on what is the ERP you are using and what kind of integration channels you are using. The integration will be different from solution to solution. How to post goods receipt and Myra from Ariba PO. To post goods receipt. Yeah, it is in Ariba. It is possible to do the goods receipt in Ariba. Suppose if you want, your users want to do only in SAP or any other system, you can still continue to do that. So there is a two-way connections are available. You can perform from Ariba or you can perform from SAP also. Someone was asking Patil, is SPN is different and are you going to show us the SPN? Yes, we are going to show you the SPN. You yourself also can create an account as an SPN and you can respond to the quotations. In Ariba, we don't use T codes for invoicing. Exactly. So that's the reason I have shown you the interface where it's all by looking at the screen, you can able to click on, go to create and click on invoice, go to create and click on invoice reconciliation. You can able to do that. So will the training cover the integration with Ariba and ERP? What is the role of functions in this? Yes, we are going to explain on what is the master data coming from your ERP, but we will not able to showcase the configurations on the ERP side. That is not possible because of the limitations from the system. Ariba configuration elements as a consultant. Yes, that is also we are going to explain. As an end user, how you are going to create a transaction and what is needed as a consultant to support that creation of the event that is covered in the training.
Shri, there are the few standard questions, basic question has been asked. What are the prerequisites to learn SAP Ariba and what are the job profiles would be there? If you can allow me, I can quickly, there are the three notes I have in my mind map. I will quickly go through that and then we can continue with the question and answers. I think this would be the standard question which many people would be having.
That's correct. Mostly it will cover after the explanation.
Yeah, so let me quickly do that part. Okay. So the first thing comes that who should learn SAP Ariba? Who should be learning SAP Ariba, right? So basically anyone who wants to build their career in SAP Ariba side, they can learn SAP Ariba. But there are few places where basically it would be recommended a lot to learn SAP Ariba. Okay, so let's say if you are a SAP or SAP sourcing and procurement consultant. Now, I told you that if you ask SAP, they say that the full solution is a combination of sourcing and procurement. The solution is a combination of sourcing, which is from Ariba, and the procurement largely from SAP S/4HANA. So the combination of both covers the full solution. So all the SAP consultant should go ahead with the Ariba also to diversify their profile. And I know we have a lot of trainings from SAP itself and SAP consultants working in SAP labs also has come to us. SAP is making them mandatory that all the sourcing and procurement guys need to learn Ariba and all the Ariba guys need to learn SAP S/4HANA. Okay, that they are making it mandatory. So that you will also see in the future that the both will merge a lot. So all the SAP consultant, if you are, you should learn SAP Ariba. It would be very good skills to add on. If you are operation experts, if you are working into the SAP sourcing operations, okay, then you can learn SAP Ariba. SAP Ariba can be good for you. You would be able to understand and work into the operations better. And you would also be able to convert your operation job into the consulting job after learning SAP Ariba. So my suggestion would be that always have a path. You are learning SAP Ariba. After SAP Ariba learning, go for S4HANA sourcing and procurement. Or if you have learned S4HANA sourcing and procurement first, after that go for Ariba. So that both modules are tightly linked with each other so that you cover the full horizontal part of that business solutions, right? Even freshers can also learn because a lot of companies, if you're applying for the Fortune 500 companies, those Fortune 500 companies have many times Ariba. So the knowledge on SAP Ariba can make a sense even to get an operations job. Okay, even to get a job as a strategic buying, if you know these kind of tools, uh, you get the preference. So these are the people who can learn SAP Ariba. And after learning Ariba, I'm now jumping into the second point that what kind of job opportunities would be there after learning Ariba, right? So there the two kind of opportunities can be there after learning Ariba. One thing is that you can go into the operations. There are a lot of people, freshers are there who want to start their career in. Okay, after learning Ariba, you can work in the operations. You would be able to apply for the companies as a sourcing expert or a strategic sourcing guy, where Ariba is already there. They always give a preference to the people who already know this IT tools, so that people would be able to work better. So you this kind of IT tools would be a differentiator in your profile rather than any another XYZ profiles available. So you can work into the operations, specifically the Fortune 500 companies which has Ariba in them. So those kind of positions you can work on. Or if you learn, go through this training, you can also become SAP Ariba consultant. SAP Ariba consultant would be the one who would be working with the clients to understand their processes and recommend them that how these processes can be done in Ariba and what are the configurations or what are the things we need to do it to make sure that SAP Ariba works well for them. To train them on SAP Ariba, to do all the project phases which is involved into the implementation. So you can become a consultant or you can also work into the operations for the companies who have already Ariba implemented. In those companies, you can work. Within consulting also, you can take part into the implementations or you can also take part as a support consultant. So that kind of support consultants opportunities are also there where Ariba is already implemented, but there needs some consultants who would be resolving the queries and tickets which comes from the already live system. So those kind of career opportunities, you can get it from Ariba after learning Ariba. The third thing is that the prerequisite to learn Ariba. Who can learn Ariba? Okay, who or if you want to learn Ariba, what are the things which you require to learn Ariba? So basically, if you want to learn Ariba, it is expected that the basic knowledge onto the sourcing business and the basic knowledge onto the procurement business should be there. If you're working into the operations, supply chain operations, that basic knowledge, most of the people have it. If you are a fresher and if you don't have this knowledge, then it would be required that you need to go into the Google and work a little bit more to get the basic knowledge of the business, sourcing and procurement, because you're going to be a consultant, right? So when you are a consultant, it's expected that you know the business. These tools help the business and the business processes, right? So if you know the tool, if you don't does not know the business processes, it does not make sense. Although, while learning from these training sessions, you would also know a lot of business processes from our training also. But I always recommend put your hard efforts to go and try to learn these business processes are not hard to learn. Sourcing and procurement use very generic business terminologies. And if you will try to search the different business processes on the Google, there also you'll find. So the basic knowledge on the basic sourcing business functions and the procurement business functions would be required. If you don't have that, you can get it along the training, but you need to put a little bit more efforts if you don't know the business processes. Basic knowledge on the computer applications would be required. You should be able to know that how to log in, how to operate the system, how to do the Microsoft PowerPoint, Excels. That is the core of the consulting job, right? The basic computer skills you should have. Decent level of English communication you should have, because even though you are working into the operations in Ariba or you're working as a consultant, both you would be dealing mostly with the Fortune 500 companies. very big companies. And basically, they have the major communication happens in English. And if you go for the consultant profiles, you need to speak a lot. You need to discuss a lot of things with your clients. So a decent level of communication skills would be required if you want to learn Ariba and make your career in Ariba. Zeal to explore and keep learning the new things. Now you need to understand, if you're jumping into the technology, if you have not worked into the technology, in technology you need to always learn. You need to always explore in the nature, right? This trainings which we provide will give you a kickstart. It's kind of a boot camp or kickoff into the Ariba, but within the Ariba also you need to jump in yourself, practice in the system, learn a lot of things. And while working into the projects also, every day you would be finding something new, because every project is different, every client is different. So you have to always keep on learning, keep on exploring. That kind of attitude would be required. And when you're working in technology with AIs and with all of these things, now the things are changing very fast. Every year there would be new things, new function, new features. Many things are getting outdated. New things are coming. So you need to be always in the running shoes to learn more things every year, every month. So that attitude is required. Keep on exploring, keep on learning. That attitude would be required if you want to become a Ariba consultant. So this is the prerequisites which is required if you want to become a Ariba consultant. I hope these three notes would be answering a lot of questions which you have. Okay, and now I would also open our dedicated question and answer session, where if you feel your question is not answered, you can feel free to raise your hand. We'll give you the unmute chance so that you would be able to answer. You would be able to get your question answered. Shri, you can go ahead, pick it up the questions which is there in the chat. And when you jump into the first questions during the sessions also, topic by topic will be going. So it would be easy to answer that questions topic. And when you go into the training, a lot of questions would be answered by the training sessions itself. Shri, over to you.
Yes, Pramila. So can we print award letter from Ariba and auto send to award vendor? I don't say that printing is required, since it is an automation. So the supplier will be receiving an email with all the message, like how much quantity or how is the price, which line item he was awarded. So there is no need of printing an award letter. If you want to print it, you can just print the email as the notification. That's the Sham who was asking this question. Experience in Ariba. This is Vijay Raghavan. I have experience in Ariba as an end user and invoicing. Can I learn and move for consultant? Obviously. So people who in the projects, they are using Ariba, they as a growth perspective, they learn Ariba, and you can present in your current organization itself. So you can say that you have experience on all those modules. Then you can get a job like a support consultant, and you can move on your career also, either with the current organization, or you can look for the change as the market is wide open for Ariba. Vidu Nagthan. So SAP Ariba is a good course for fresher with a BBA and MBA background. Yes, it's a procurement. If you have done a business administration, by now you are aware that. So what is the consulting experience? So you can explain to the business like what are the best practices, what is the good way of controlling it, change management. All those things are required as a consultant. And the skills you need it, what is possible in Ariba or not, you will getting from the training. So you will also work as since you know the processes, you can work as a consultant, as either a technical consultant or a functional consultant. Or you can go as a sales perspective also. If you're looking into SAP sales perspective, you can do that also.
Shri, in between, there's a question from Patel. Is SBN is different, and are you going to show us the SBN? SBN is Supplier Business Network. We show the SBN, right?
That's correct. Yeah, even that's what I have mentioned I have replied to him. You can also create. I'm going to explain you how you can create an account in SBN while doing the practice. So you will be responding as a supplier for the quotations coming from the buyer. So you will have a full hands-on on SBN on your own.
Okay, there's another question which is an interesting question, and I would like to put some light that what is the interface between SAP and Ariba, and are you going to show and give the interface how the data transfer from Ariba to SAP and vice versa? That would be shown that as a Ariba consultant, what you need to do to get the interface done, but make a note the labs which we are having, the kind of labs which we have. Those labs, those Ariba system cannot be connected with SAP S/4HANA system. So the system which you would be having or this training is only Ariba system. It would
Ariba
not be
system.
connected with SAP S/4HANA system. So you want to add something?
Yeah, that's correct. So, however, the process continues. So you can create a PO, then the system will tell that it is created in backend, but we will not able to show because of the restrictions on the access.
And these kind of interfaces are very difficult. We have done for the corporate trainings, and the lab cost itself cost us to 8 to 10 lakh rupees to set it up for that corporate trainings. Okay, so because these Ariba licenses are very expensive, it's not easy to get it, and the Ariba licenses which is open, which can be integrated with S/4HANA, then another S/4HANA system is required and integration is required. So that kind of setup we only do for the corporates, and it is very expensive. So for these kind of trainings, in S/4HANA training, we have separate S/4HANA system. For Ariba training, you have separate standalone Ariba system, which is not connected with S/4HANA, but you would be shown how to do the connection or what things you need to do from Ariba side as a consultant.
There is one question from Sandeep. What about vendors who are not using Ariba? It's a good question. So your vendors are not forced to start using Ariba, and why they are hesitating? Why they are not using Ariba? Because Ariba is a free of cost for supplier. They don't need to pay single paisa if they want to use as a light account where they can receive the purchase order in the email or in the business network. They don't need to pay. Even they can create an invoice in the business network. They don't need to pay anything unless they want to integrate business network with their sales system, like a buying system, they have their sales module, then they need to go for an enterprise account for which Ariba charges. Otherwise, the supplier don't need to pay any amount to the Ariba. So that's the reason many people will be interested to join into business network. So what are the benefit? As one supplier, they're not going to register in Ariba network. So they can interact with many more suppliers, thereby their business also will get increased. So they are motivated to use business network SAP Ariba. So they will get more opportunities in selling also. So basically that question was, ruled out in the long before. Ariba has now it's a free of cost. So there will not be any hesitation from the suppliers to register unless their management, change management do not agree creation of a business account. Even in that case also, there is an alternative way. You can send via email and receive the responses via email also, but they will not be able to participate in competitive biddings. There is one more question from Vijay. As I told, I have end user experience in Ariba. I have a confusion in choosing the module. Should I choose Ariba module to learn or choose SAP FICO role, which is demanding and which role I can reach easier? I think that question Parminder sir can explain you because SAP FICO and SAP procurement both are different.
Okay, so the question is, I have worked in SAP Ariba as end user, and I used to invoicing the Ariba. I have experience in Ariba and end user invoicing. Can I learn more as a consultant role? Yes. Is that the question you are saying?
Yeah, that's correct. Similar
Yeah,
question.
yes. So if you have a SAP Ariba end user, I always say that the end users becomes the best consultant because as an end user, you know the business processes, you know how to do into the system, you know the what are the challenges business has, what are the pain points of the business. So you would be able to very effectively discuss with the businesses. So end users always become a very good consultant. I myself was an end user working into the SAP PP stream for quite some time, PP and production planning and quality departments, and then I get converted myself as a consultant. So if you have worked as an end user, you can go ahead, start with SAP Ariba, and then later on also learn SAP S/4HANA sourcing and procurement. And within, it's not like both of the modules are required to become a consultant. Within the one module itself, you would be able to become a consultant and start your career. But adding two would be an added advantage to your profile.
There is a question from Nirup. Will the training be real-time or live training or recorded session? It's a live training only. You will be joining the sessions 1 day per hour, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, except Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It will go around 35 hours, 30 to 35 hours. So you can ask your questions, and then I think you will be having access to the recorded videos for next 1 year. Even there is an option later on during that 1 year, if you have doubts on some sessions, you can rejoin back with support will help you in rejoining the session when that particular module is going on.
In between, there's a two question I will quickly answer. Mohan is asking, will you provide a special training on CIG or integration? We have a document which we can provide you, but we don't have any special training. We tried our best to do it. There's separate training on CIG, but we were never able to do it because of the system issues, right? How this course will help for certification? We make sure that we do this course to help you so that you would be able to do the things in the system and you would be able to become a consultant. However, for doing the certification, you need to know a lot of other things, theoretical things also. So how we help is that we will be giving you the books which you need to give a read if you're going for the certification exams. So books would be provided from our side, which you need to read apart from doing the things in the system and going through this training, then you would be able to write a certification exam. Is SAP Ariba is a good course for a BB MBA? Yes, it's a very good course for the MBA people. You know the business processes in the MBA, and then you can add Ariba. Sridhar is asking, internship program is available for Ariba training program? No, we don't have an internship program available as of now for Ariba because we are not able to connect Ariba system with S4HANA. What is the salary range for Ariba consultant fresher? So the salaries totally depends on what is your existing salary. Okay. And the starting salary does not matter in the consulting. Starting experience matters. So first 2 years, you should focus on to get the experience, not on the salary. After that, salary will get multiplied in the consulting, right? So Ariba fresher can start from anywhere from 2.4 lakh of package till 8 lakh of package can easily start. But that also depends on which college you are from, whether you have MBA degree or if you have worked somewhere, what was your existing package. Sure, Chandan. We'll try to do our best to give the screenshots. Support team, can you provide Navina a link for the ABAP training? Bhupinder, can you provide a link for the ABAP training to Navina? Navina, he is looking for ABAP training. Sujin is asking, as a fresher, we don't have much opportunities to get in how we can develop ourselves. Sujin, you drop an email to support@sastrageek.com. Today itself, I think it would be live. Today itself, we have we were working for last 2 months on a one program which can help freshers a lot. That's a 1 year program with Sastrageek Solution, where basically you join Sastrageek Solutions for 1 year as a fresher and you work with us, and we also give you a 1 year work certification. 6 months will be completely focusing on your training, and rest 6 months and rest of the 6 months you would be given some project task also, right? And there is also some stipend included into the next 6 months. So we have created a full program which can build the freshers from zero to have a certain level of good knowledge, but 1 year would be required. And the expectation is 40 hours a week, your commitment. So you can drop an email to support@sastrageek.com to know about that 1 year process with Sastrageek solution. Can we send invitation to many vendors at same time for the onboarding, or we have to send one by one? Shyam is having that query. Shri, can you answer that? Can we send bulk invitations to the vendors?
I think this is a deeper question that we can explain when we in the course. I can explain that.
Okay, okay, good.
That cannot be answered in a single sentence. There is one question from Patil. I think you're not answering. So may I know what question? Because some are repetitive and some are.
Patil, just raise your hand. We'll give you the unmute access so that you can specifically, because there are so many questions, we might have jumped in between, or we assumed we have answered, but you have not got it. So raise your hand. We'll give you unmute access so that you can speak and ask your question. In between, I will answer Vijay's question. Vijay said, I have end user experience in Ariba. I have a confusion for choosing for module. Should I choose Ariba or should I choose FICO? Vijay, you also, can you raise your hand? I would be asking specifically to you that what is actually your experience, your background, and then I would be able to help you to select the module. That is actually we do in the third section, which is the career counseling session. So just raise your hand. I will give you a chance to unmute and we'll discuss it. Yes, Mr. Patil ji, kya रह गया? But we are not able to answer. Which question is not answered? You can ask it now. I have given access to unmute.
Yes, Parminder, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
So my query is just like the SBN is different system, right? So are you going to show us the SBN and the data which is coming from supplier to SBN, then SBN to Ariba, and then again it's going to S4, then vice versa?
Yeah, I think I have answered that question. So during the training, you will be given an option to create an account in SBN yourself. So you'll be having practical experience to what an SBN look like, how the data is coming from Ariba to SBN. All you're going to be experiencing it.
Okay, Ariba to SBN, okay, fine. What about SAP?
No.
No, this is the second question, correct?
Yeah, that's what.
As I already explained, Mr. Patil, we don't have any integration between Ariba and SAP. So whatever the document you will create in Ariba remains in Ariba. You cannot see it is going into SAP because we don't have a connected system. Okay, we don't have a lab where basically the both things are connected. It's very difficult. The kind of system access we have, the systems cannot be connected. I have earlier also have spoken this in the training. Your documents, you will not be able to see the documents going from Ariba to SAP system.
Yeah, because when I attended the session last time, so maybe you or someone told that they're trying to show us even from SAP side that something changes is they're doing. So that's why I'm asking. At least this time I can get that.
No, even the last time from last 3-4 sessions, we are doing this, repeating the same thing that we don't have those system access. But we can try to show some screenshots from the existing systems by removing the client names that we can try to do. But we don't have a working lab where you would be able to see the integration.
Okay.
So there are some things where basically our hands are also stuck. The things become so expensive. The one license people are asking for, you will not believe, for 50 to 60K with the SAP. And those system also we are not able to connect. Right? We did it for one of the corporate trainings earlier. That is their lab. We cannot touch those things. That is for their corporate. It works into their environment only. For the corporate trainings we did, but these trainings we never were able to integrate the systems.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Got it.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm already receiving the queries related to the carrier related queries. I'm already receiving it, so I would convert this into the last segment where we answer the career related queries. We'll start with the Vijay and then we'll go ahead with Rashmi. Vijay, you can go ahead and explain me what is your background, what kind of hands-on experience you have as an end user, and what is your education background. Vijay, you can unmute yourself now.
In the meantime, Parminder, I'll be logging off.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Sri, for your presence and for your availability. So we would be stopping here the Ariba related questions now, and we are jumping into the career counseling related questions. When you jump into the training sessions, your further questions would be answered during the training sessions. Thank you, Sri, for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Parminder. Thank you, everyone.
Vijay, Mr. Vijay, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi Praminder. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah, actually myself, I have 2 years of experience in accounts payable P2P role. I have experience in SAP ARIBA invoices, and that is my previous organization, which I use SAP ARIBA. So I have some plans to do SAP certification to enter the consultant role. Yeah, that is in that I have some confusion, like which model will be demanded and which model should I choose for.
What is your education background?
My education background is BCom MBA.
BCom and MBA. And you said you work in the accounts payable, right? So
Yes.
what kind of things you have done? You have done things more into the finance side of it or more into the Ariba side of it or sourcing side of it?
Like I did, I think in this finance side, like I used to processing the invoices with the GL PO, selecting the PO vendor line items. That is the thing I did in Ariba invoicing.
Okay. Do you also, from your BCom and MBA experience, do you remember that there are a lot of finance principles, general ledger accounting, account receivable, asset accounting principles, depreciation calculations? Those things, are you aware of?
Yes, I have some knowledge in that, but not that much.
So if you feel that would be difficult for you to regain those knowledge, then you should go for Ariba. If you
Oh,
feel that you would be able to get into that knowledge, you have strong business knowledge into this accounts payable part. Not only the accounts payable, because only accounts payable, you cannot do FICO, you need to do AP, AR, controlling, general ledger accounting, all these things you should have a good hand. If you
okay,
feel you would be able to recall this knowledge, then go for FICO. Otherwise, go for SAP Ariba.
okay, okay, understood. Should
The,
I?
Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead. You can,
But to let you know, we have both trainings. We have a training in FICO also, and we have training in Ariba also. Whichever
okay,
you want to go ahead, we can do that.
okay. Yeah, once I completed the training in SAP Ariba, can I start to search for a job or else I need to do the global certification? Uh,
No, once you complete the training in SAP Ariba, you can immediately start for the job. It's not necessary that first you need to be certified and then look for the job. The more important thing is experience. So your existing experience, you need to showcase properly. And if you can showcase, convert your existing experience after the training into the consulting experience, showing that not only the end user, but you have done like a role of a consultant
yeah,
in the company which you was doing, then you would be able to easily get a job.
okay. Yeah, okay. How much months will you provide the server access? Will you provide server access for SAP Ariba?
SAP Ariba server access is there with the bundle. If you go with the bundle, SAP Ariba server access is there.
Okay.
I don't remember whether it was for 2 months. Support team, Bhupender, can you confirm the server access with the bundle is given for how many months?
It is also live training, right? It is live
It's a
training.
live training. Yes.
That's it. Coming back.
Okay,
Thank you.
Bhupender will respond to you for the server access.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
I have a question from Rashmi. I'm fresher and intending to restart my career after 16 years long gap. Can you suggest some material to study as basic within these 5 days before the session start? Also, please let me know if it is too technical for me to get handled on the course. I am a BBA and MBA background, never in IT, but used IT as an end user in bank. Okay. So if you're starting as a fresher, Rashmi, you need to go with more than one module. You need to go for Ariba and you can go for SAP S/4HANA sourcing and procurement. You can also drop an email to support@sastrageek.com to check our 1-year plan. Okay, to check our 1-year plan, you can drop a email to support@sastrageek.com. And as soon as you enroll, you would be automatically getting access to the previous recordings, any course you are subscribing, right? So by the time the course is starting, you can go through the previous past recordings so that you can warm up yourself to get it started. Any kind of coding, there's no kind of coding is there. So as such, if you don't belong from IT, it's okay. It's not necessary to belong from IT to learn these things. I have another question from Akash, BTech 2019 pass out, work experience operation. Rashmi, if your question is still not fully answered, you can raise your hand. Akash is saying that BTech 2019 pass out, work experience operation department manufacturing, SAP PP end user, course interested SAP EWM due to interest in warehouse manufacturing processes. Need your valuable opinion before taking course. Akash, I will not suggest you to directly jump into EWM. You can go first with the PP module. Okay, you can go first with the PP because you worked as a PP end user. So you can go for the PP module first, and then you can go for EWM. Okay, or you can go for again EWM again. I will not prefer. So what happened? The EWM is not that simple module. EWM is quite complicated module. Right? And if you don't have good hands-on consultant level knowledge into the core modules, I have seen people struggle to learn EWM. Right? That's why we always prefer to go with the core module, try to learn SAP PP first, try to get a job in PP, and then switch to EWM. That's what you should try, Akash, if you want to take my suggestion. Abhishek is asking, MM and Ariba, both salaries. The salaries would be more or less same in the both of the segments, and depends a lot on your experience or whatever the last salary you was drawing. It depends on that. But if you will compare, both have more or less equal level of salaries. Yeah, Mohan, please go ahead.
Hey, hi, Parminder. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you, right?
Yeah, thanks. Firstly, thanks for all these sessions you're offering. I was already a part of the self-learning course, so I'm now interested to learn for the live training also. But regarding the career advice, I have been always tagged into the testing domain on the SAP side. I have good knowledge on the core processes of MM, PP, and EWM, some part of EWM. And Ariba also, I just went through some self-study materials. But it's really hard to switch from the testing to the consulting. They are not accepting mostly. So that is the area where I got blocked. So I need your suggestion on that.
Have you spoken the last week itself, if I'm not wrong? In my one-to-one career counseling session?
No, this is the first time I'm speaking.
Okay, maybe
No, this is the first time.
Similar profile. I have spoken to someone in my last week career counseling session. Maybe I confused with the name. Yeah, so the problem is that you are doing into the training, testing, right? And until unless you would be showing in the testing itself, it would be very difficult to go into the full-fledged consulting role. So I always tell that if you want to do, if you are a plumber and you want a job of electrician, you should showcase that what you can do as electrician in your CV, right? So what you need to do, your existing experience need to be converted into some, adding some one or two end-to-end implementation. Now, how you would be adding the end-to-end implementation? We have a course, SAP Job and Mastery, that can help you. That is, we have explained from start to end that how the implementation process happens in different phases, what kind of things you do. You can go through that course. That will help you to understand the full implementation, and then you would be able to showcase. If you need some hands-on experience, we also have an internship program. You can also go and enroll for our internship program. That will also help you to understand how end-to-end implementation process happens. You will be part of one project, and in that project, different consultants will be there, and together you need to complete that project.
Okay. So that internship program would be for 40 hours, I reckon you mentioned. So since I'm already working, so whether I can join...
No, 40 hours program is our 1 year program.
1 year. Okay. Okay.
This
Got
is
it.
not a 1 year program. This internship program which we have, you would be able to do it within your job. The expecting efforts would be around 15 to 20 hours of a week.
Got it.
And you would be able to do it while working. 1 year program is the one where we expect you are not working on anywhere else, and then you will be actually working with us.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, that would be really great, Parminder. Looking forward to it. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Sure. Thank you, Mohan. Girish has a question. I am here to get answer for some of my queries in SAP TM module. I am SAP SD consultant, having 4+ years of experience and looking to enroll for SAP TM. Will the course cover embedded as well as standalone? The course which we cover is basically the embedded TM. Okay, we cover the embedded TM, but the trainer also explain into the different places if it is a standalone TM, what need to be done. But whatever all the exercise would be given, all the hands-on would be happening, that would be happening on embedded TM. And now if you know that the standalone TM, which was a SCM TM, is going to replace by the standalone S4HANA TM. Okay, so that also is going to replace with S4HANA TM, standalone TM. Would the course cover all practical session of all important topics? Can we perform practical in normal S4HANA system for TM? Yes, you would be able to do the scenario in the TM. Course cover all practical sessions of all important topics. Yes, we cover the live sessions and the important topics. Don't have too much of expectations because TM also is a very wide module. Okay, very extensive module it is. Our training is to give you a kickstart in TM, right? We always try to have a 2.0 training in TM, which will be advanced, going into the more complex business scenarios. But this TM training would be the one which you would be able to good enough to start your consulting career in TM. Okay, we are not covering the complex business scenario in our TM training right now, which we are doing it. Overall, what would be getting from the entire course? You can check the course curriculum and with how much depth. Depth would be only to kickstart your career in TM. Okay, people are coming into the TM session with a lot of experience. By the way, to telling you the kind of content we are covering, I was yesterday I was telling for one of the institute, they complete the TM training in 18 hours. One other institute completed the training in 25 hours, right? We give minimum 40 hours of instructor-led training from last couple of batches. It is going beyond 50 hours. TM is very complicated. If you are coming from an SD background, TM is 10 times more complicated than SD. So it will take time for you to understand, and you need to also do by yourself a lot of hands-on and a lot of exploration. You need to do also by your own. Okay, people compare कि भैया मैं तो SD ऐसे सीख लिया था. And now I'm not able to understand the TM because TM is very complex. SD and TM, you cannot compare each other. So it's a boot camp kind of a training which we have. Okay. And I can guarantee that the content which we are providing, you will not find anywhere else which is provided. But it is not very depth. It is only till that level that you can start your consulting career. Vijay is asking, once I'm getting training in Ariba, should I start search for role or is it, okay, that I have already answered. When is the start 1 year program is going to start? Sridhar, that would be continuous program. People can keep on enrolling for the 1 year program. So we would be focusing on the 2 modules. You would be having access to full Sastrageek platform of all the trainings, but we would be focusing on the 2 modules to make sure you get in-depth knowledge and you train onto the 2 modules, right? With the existing programs, but we'll be having more monitoring and controlling on you, and we'll be giving additional assignments. That's why we are expecting 40 hours of commitment in a week. You should not be working anywhere else because we'll be showing that you're working with us. And it would be a continuous program. It's not like start and end is not there. Okay, drop an email to support@sastrageek.com to know more about the 1 year program. Two-month server access would be there. Bhupender has just confirmed. Thank you for that. Sai has a question. I'm a fresher. Can you provide any study material or YouTube links for basic knowledge in sourcing and procurement business process before session starts? Bhupender, just assign our YouTube video which we have for the sourcing and procurement overview process that you can assign it to Sai. It will help. Or you can also search Sastrageek sourcing and procurement in Google. You will find our YouTube video, which shows the end-to-end sourcing and procurement business process. Thank you for the appreciation, Rajesh. Thank you, Charan. I have few people raise the hand. Naveen. Go ahead, Navina.
Yeah, hi.
Yes, please.
Yeah. I want to learn SAP ABAP actually. I'm a testing background. I'm from the testing background. So I want to learn SAP ABAP. How much time it will take to learn? Is it possible to learn? I mean, I don't have any programming knowledge than before. So I'm just asking you, is that okay to learn me programming in that ABAP? How much time it will take to learn?
Okay, so what is the reason? Why do you want to learn about?
I want to shift to the SAP ABAP programmer, so that's the reason, just to change the job.
So you want to jump into technical. So can you tell me a little bit more that in your current job, for how many years you are working and what kind of job you are doing?
Yeah, I'm working as a manual test engineer.
Manual
In the
testing
last 4
of
years.
which tools or which software?
Just, I mean, for manual, we just using for writing the test cases and all, for that.
Okay, got it. And for how many years?
4 years.
So you can learn. What is your education background?
MCA, Master of Computer Applications.
So in MCA, you have learned different programming languages, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense that you can jump into the technical, you can learn ABAP. Generally, it takes around 6 months of time to learn ABAP. Okay, where basically we expect you to be an internship program, 6-month internship program. Where basically first you will be learning core ABAP, then OOPS ABAP, then ABAP on HANA, and then internship where you would be getting a hands-on experience working on a project. With that, within 6 months, you would be able to learn ABAP and you would be able to apply for the jobs.
Okay. I mean, for implementation project, definitely I need to join for the internship program you're telling, right?
That's right. That's it. Most of all of our ABAP people who have been subscribed, although we have option that you can only learn OOPS ABAP or only ABAP on HANA, but most of the people who have subscribed the ABAP course from us, not most, all of the people have gone for the internship program, which covers 3 modules plus internship.
Okay. Definitely I need to take the internship program. I mean, beyond that, I don't have any implementation project for, 2 to 3 months.
Sure. Jump into our internship program. That will definitely help you. Are you currently working in the testing role?
Yeah.
Okay.
Present, actually, last month my contract has completed. I'm looking for a new role. That's why I'm just want to learn SAP ABAP in the gap, so that I can move to the SAP ABAP role. I mean, present, as of now, I'm not working.
Okay. You can also check if you are interested in the 1-year program. You can check with supporting.
Yeah, but 1-year program, I don't have that much time, but
That's okay. You can go for this internship program. I think that will help you.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Namina. Sridhar, go ahead.
Hi, Parminder. I am typing the questions meanwhile.
You typed in the question. Okay, so should I enroll with the Mastery and Excellence first,
Yes.
or avail internship program or 1-year program?
Is it mandatory to first enroll with the Master and Excellence programs bundles?
So it is like that. If you want to go for the internship program, which we have it is complementary with Mastery and Excellence bundles.
Okay.
With Mastery, with 2 bundles, basically you should have it to get the complimentary internship access.
Okay.
For 1-year program, we are putting it that you need to be a diamond membership. If you are the diamond member of Sastrageek solution, then we are giving the 1-year program as a compliment.
Okay. Which one you suggest?
Are you working right now? No, right?
No, actually not in SAP. I'm not in IT. I'm not working right now.
So I would suggest you, I would strongly suggest you go for 1-year program.
Okay.
1-year program does not mean that you need to be there. With 1 year, you can always, if you get a project outside after 4 months or 6 months, you can go ahead for the outside project. And even we also try to get you absorbed within Sastrageek solutions. Once you are trained, we'll share your profile within the Sastrageek solution. And there also the 1-year program, which you start with associate consultant, we convert, if you get the project, we convert into a consultant level.
Okay.
With the higher salary.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. I think you was following up today. Bhupendra would be sharing with you we have created the blog for it for the 1-year program. We would be sharing with you.
So there is no difference, right, between this internship program and 1-year program, except that whether we are working or not working anywhere, except that both are same, right?
No, both are not same. There's a huge difference between both of them. In internship program, you do on your own timings. You try to complete the assignments.
Okay.
Right? And here, basically, we would be expecting you, like you're working in Sastrageek, so you should be available for 8 hours in a day, where we'll have more focus, we have more monitoring, and you would be given with the more assignments to get the things completed. We'll also try to assign you as a shadow resource with the consultant who is already working in a project, so that you also get to know that what kind of works happens in a project, although you will not be working in a project, but with the shadow working, you should be knowing a lot of things about the project. The consultant would be training you, making sure that you learn that what are the things he is doing for a project. He will be explaining that kind of projects to you.
Okay.
So it's more in depth and it's more controlled, monitored compared to the internship.
Okay.
So internship one, a lot of people join, and when we give the assignment to them, they are not able to complete because they don't have a time bandwidth. But
Yes.
here, when we give the assignment, it's mandatory for you to get it completed.
Yeah, it is like deliverables.
It is like deliverables, right?
Yeah.
We create a working environment. There would be a mentor for you. There would be kind of daily meetings or 2 meetings in a project meetings would be there in a weekly basis to check your monitoring and to check how you are progressing, where you are struggling, and to provide you some additional enforced support wherever it is required.
It's like as if I am working with the client.
Yes, right. You're already working in a company. It's that kind of environment.
Yeah. And yeah, this is another question. Like after attending today's step up circle session, if I learn, suppose take mine as example, if I learn only S4HANA and Ariba without learning any core module, will any person can get job with these two trainings, S4HANA and Ariba, without any core modules training?
No, S4HANA, you cannot learn only S4HANA. S4HANA, you need to learn any one of the modules.
Any one of the module, yeah.
So S4HANA, like you need to learn S4HANA sourcing and procurement plus Ariba.
Okay.
So if you come to the 1-year program, you would be focusing that you learn S4HANA sourcing and procurement mastery, S4HANA sourcing and procurement excellence, plus Ariba. So these three we would be focusing, you learn and you get the delivery done on these three. Apart from that, we are working in this 1-year program because I am identifying, I'm keep on experimenting with this training curriculum. That's why in 7 years of my journey, if you will see where I start and what we are doing it's more towards creating a resource who can work as a consultant. So in this program, if you will see, we have added a lot of things. We have added the presentation trainings. We have added the workshop moderation trainings. We are adding the communication trainings. We are adding the Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, tools training, because I am finding personally when we are onboarding the people struggle in all of the things. And you cannot become a consultant only knowing one part of that technology, but not knowing all the soft things. Soft things are also important.
Yeah. Yeah, as you already suggested me to go with SAP that sales and distribution and first, then TM. Instead of that, can I go with S4HANA sourcing and procurement and Ariba?
You can go, if you can remind me what you said, that what is your previous experience?
Yeah, my previous experience was in IT only. Basically, I am from mechanical engineering graduate. But I worked in IT for more than 12 years, till 2012. Then myself and my friend started an e-commerce company.
Okay. So because you started an e-commerce company, you was more into the sales side.
Yeah.
That's why I suggested you for SAP SD. But SD and MM has an equivalent weightage. Because of your e-commerce experience, I suggested you for SD.
Yes. But with Ariba, I think MM will go.
Ariba, MM will go. It's not like you do Ariba and SD.
Yes.
That combination is not a good combination.
Yes, then TM is best combination.
Yeah.
So which one you suggest, Parminder?
So that's not a worry. So you can decide first what you want to go when you're coming for a 1-year program. Always a flexibility is there. I can schedule a session, a deep dive session of 1 hour with you to showcase and explain you all the things in detail, so that finally you can choose whether SD or.
So how do I register for that 1-year program? Because I have been trying to contact to register for that 1-year program. That's why I'm asking, should I enroll first with a module or with a bundle, or?
Bhupender will share the link with you that you need to subscribe with the Diamond membership, and as soon as you subscribe with the Diamond membership, we have already gone through the discussion, so the interview is not required. Generally, it goes through the interview process 1 year. 1 year, we are not taking anyone, right? We want to take very selective people who would be able to perform in this 1 year, and we see that, okay, they would be able to get converted and they would be able to put the effort. So it's the interview processes there for it. We have already few people, 2 more people are there, including you. We have already gone through the discussion. So you would be able to enroll for it, but it goes through the interview process.
Sure, yeah. So I have to contact Bhupender, right?
Yeah, you have to contact Bhupender. He will give you the link. You can subscribe, and then we can start. You can start with this 1 year program.
Sure,
Or everything is there in the details. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, for other people also will get a chance to participate in this 1 year program, like people who enroll for the bundles, Master and Excellence. After completing those training modules,
People who have enrolled for the bundle Mastery and Excellence after completing those trainings, if they want to come for the 1 year, yes, they can come. There is not an issue. They can come for the.
Otherwise, yeah, they can go
also,
for it.
Yeah. But if they do it before, then this sourcing and procurement mastery excellence itself would be covered in a better way and in a faster way.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe our channel and click on bell icon to update yourself with latest SAP videos. Okay.
Yeah. I'll contact Bhupender.
Sure.
Yeah, for the link.
Rashmi, Bhupender has already explained to Rashmi. Sai has a question. I'm a fresher at the any study material. Okay, that Bhupender has provided. Okay. Sadanand, you are requesting the for the Ariba one or the 1 year program? Which one you are requesting, Sadanand? Okay, you can always reach out to support@sastrageek.com to get more details. Both, okay. Bhupender will send you the both. Okay. So thank you everyone for coming for this session. We'll let you know what is the next step up circle session, what is the next topic we are covering it. We'll have another step up circle next week. Thank you everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Parminder.
Akash has a question in between, maybe I missed. Sir, how can I showcase my operation experience to consultant? As in my salary slip, it mentioned operation roles. So do you have provide SAP PP internship also after course completion? Yes, we have a PP internship. Sir, SAP Master Excellence, which should I choose as per your opinion? You should start with the PP Mastery. Akash, okay. And the question that how you would be able to show the consulting experience, it does not matter much what has been written in your what do you say that offer letter, right? Or in your experience letter, what has been written, because it's always you can explain that even it happens with me. I have worked with a company. It was written as a production engineer, but I was worked as a level 1 support SAP PP consultant. I did my okay. It will be good to share that experience. It will give you clarity because your module is also PP. So I was working in one of the manufacturing company and I was working as a PP end user. I was very interested in SAP. I did my SAP course. I spent around 2.7 lakh rupees on it. And this is 20 years ago. To complete the course, I did the certification also. And then there was a vacancy in my existing company in which I was working. They need someone to do the SAP process expert, which is the level 1 support. I applied for it. I showed them I have done the certification and they already know that I was very good in SAP because of my learnings I was also using in my company. And then they gave me the level 1 support. But nothing changes on my offer letter. Nothing changes on my experience. Still, it was written as a production engineer. Right? So that you can always explain that this role change happened and you went into a kind of a support role. But because you have been taken as a production engineer, so it continue on to the same headcount, it goes continue. And it is sometimes very political and difficult to get those headcount title change in your profiles. So you can always defend by saying it. Make sure that you have a couple of people who would be responding when the call has been given to them that yes, this guy was working into SAP and kind of a consultant level. That kind of emails they should be able to respond, or phone calls they should be able to respond. Respond means the reference number you would be giving it. they should be able to tell that you was working as that is to tell Akash. Okay, thank you everyone. Have a good day ahead. Bye bye for now.